Hey students, hello, how are you? Obviously, this is Mr. Leonard, um, actually lecturing to you via PowerPoint. I know there might be a variety of different, I guess, ways in which teachers are delivering their messages and their teaching, be it Zoom or maybe GoToMeeting or doing what I'm doing via PowerPoint. But so basically, I just felt that this way was just, I guess, just an easier, better way I can make my PowerPoint lecture. I can post it, and you guys will be able to see it whenever you're able to do so. Actually, hopefully, I don't know, either later on this week or next week, I would like to do a Zoom session. I can't promise you, but do a Zoom session just for us to just kind of, get on Zoom and just say hello and, and just kind of hang out a little bit there, right? So, looking forward to that. All right. So, as you saw in the message that I posted, I think in the announcements a couple of days ago, basically, hey, given all that which is going on right now, I decided to switch, and instead of waiting until May teaching microbiology, of course, which that's my area of expertise or specialty, I decided to actually kind of more so do it now. All right. So, yes, talking about viruses. And of course, my gosh, I mean, just the whole world is dealing with, of course, the COVID-19. We'll talk about that. But just know this, what I want to do in this session, just kind of give a little introduction about viruses. And I have different lectures and different, topics concerning viruses, but I just want to give kind of like a brief intro of viruses. There's a whole bunch of different kind of viruses that are out there that infect a whole bunch of different types of living things. I mean, you have viruses that infect bacteria, algae, every animal in the animal kingdom. Get viruses that infects plants, trees. I mean, just everything. So they're just ubiquitous. That means that they're all over the place there. So we're going to just talk about viruses. So this is a virus introduction. All right. So what is a virus? All right. So basically, I'll try to doesn't draw very straight, but what is a virus? A virus is an infectious obligate intracellular parasite. What this obligate intracellular parasite simply means that it has to get inside of a host cell. So viruses, and I'll talk about if viruses are alive or not, but viruses have to get inside of a host cell in order to kind of quote unquote live, survive, reproduce, and make its offspring. So we have a variety of different viruses. It can be DNA virus, it can be RNA virus. It's surrounded by a protein coat and in an envelope, usually made of like kind of like a plasma or rather a phospholipid bilayer that they get from host cells. And that's particularly if it's more so like an animal virus. So we'll kind of get into that there. But the main thing that you need to know is that yes, a virus has to get inside of cells in order to do metabolic and biochemical actions and functions and all that good stuff. All right. Just real quick, just virus discovery. I mean, that happened back like in the early 1900s. Rabies, Variola virus, the chickenpox virus, and a whole bunch of things. Right? Bacteriophage, that's a particular virus that actually infects bacteria. And that's actually a picture of this there, right? So that kind of virus infects bacteria, but we have, like I said, a whole host of different kinds of viruses that infects every organism on the face of the earth. All right. So viruses, are they alive? Yes or no? Well, actually, actually, viruses are not alive, and I'll talk about that there, right? Well, why? Because viruses actually depend on cells to reproduce. So again, they're obligate intracellular parasite. Intra, the word intra means inside, okay, within. Intracellular. So they have to get inside the cell in order to metabolize, have homeostasis, and to exhibit the characteristics of life that we learned before. Again, here, viruses, basically viruses for all, they infect everything. Ant, protists, algae, seaweed, kelp, fish, any living organism that you can think of, there are viruses that actually infect it. And viruses are very specific to a very specific host. Okay. Now there are some viruses that can transfer from some animals to human beings. We call that a zoonotic infection. But by and large, viruses are specific to hosts. For instance, like we are not susceptible to viruses that attack plants, trees, and bacteria. All right, so again, like I said, viruses are not considered to be living because, again, they do not maintain the characteristics of life. They need to get inside the host cell in order to reproduce, have biochemical reactions, homeostasis, carry out, like I said, biochemical reactions, metabolic activities. Viruses do not have organelles, cytoplasm. So again, viruses need to actually get inside of a cell, and simply what they do is that they hijack the cell, take over the cell, and have the cell pretty much do its bidding to make more viruses. So viruses cannot reproduce on their own. They have to get inside their cells in order, or they have to get inside of a host cell, of a susceptible host cell, in order for it to start taking over the host cell machinery. And the viruses will bring their own DNA into the host cell. And like I said, it just takes over the host cell, and it can damage the host cells, like say in our bodies, or it can actually destroy our cells in our bodies. So again, the difference between a cell, smallest, most basic unit of life, and a virus. So again, reproduction. Yes, cells can reproduce independently. Viruses only reproduce if they're inside of a host cell. They both have a genetic code. Viruses have DNA or RNA, and actual cells, it says DNA, but cells also have RNA as well. Growth and development. Viruses cannot grow and develop on their own. So that's another reason why really these viruses are not considered to be alive. I know you may have heard of the news, well, living and so on and so forth, but really technically, scientifically, viruses are not really considered to be alive. Obtain and use energy. Nope. Respond to environment. Nope. Change over time. Yes. And we see the yes for cells. So again, like I said, overall viruses are not considered to be alive. A lot of times, sometimes we might call them like virus particles or something like that. They're right. So yes. All right. Here's just kind of just some a relationship of sizes here. This right here, folks. All right. So this is simply a red blood cell right here. Okay. All right, a erythrocyte, a red blood cell. All right, so that's red blood cell, right? This is a bacterium. All right, you say bacterium because it's one, but bacteria is plural, but bacterium. So that's the size. All right, and then the rest of these, as you see, are various sizes of viruses here. Okay, so you see viruses are extremely small, extremely small. This is HIV, human immunodeficient virus. So these are HIV actually attacking a lymphocyte, a white blood cell. So again, like I said, so virus particles are extremely small. This is actually using what's known as an electron microscope that can actually magnify things like maybe like up to like 50,000 times its actual size. Like the microscopes that we have used in our classroom in room 234, total magnification, of course, is 400x. Electron microscopes can go 50,000x and maybe even above that. All right, I think that's it. Thank you.